We should have known that a long time ago.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 24 Hours Crypto. Let's get right into today's doubleheader. The markets are bleeding. The SEC is coming down heavy and labeling Algo, Dash, other tokens as securities in the Bittrex lawsuit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And this one is a funny one. Dash investors in particular were operating under the assumption that the growth and development of Dash blockchain would increase the value of the tokens, the SEC said. Here's even a better one. The Algorand blockchain team followed a similar strategy by boosting the token and promising growth opportunities to holders, the SEC alleged. And you know who else promised us significant growth for Algorand? It was yours truly, Gary Gensler. Take a listen to him.
Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then who would update this?
And that video right there, ladies and gentlemen, is 5 years old. You can't even make this stuff up. But at the end of the day, he's just a puppet. A lot of people are, trying to go after him. But folks, at the end of the day, he's actually not running this show. There's individuals behind him advising him what to do. He's just a puppet, just like Jay Clayton. Ripple got sued on the last day of Jay Clayton being in the office. And Jay Clayton is the one that sued Ripple. And then Gary Gensler took over. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a movie. And now the Ripple test. Ripple is already 2 years ahead. We've been working with regulators since inception, working with the Modular Foundation since inception, which are backed by the Melinda and Gates Foundation. America is panicking. Treasury Secretary says sanctions could hurt the US dollar. Alternative currency plans. BRICS is coming together. They're trying to use an alternative currency and move away from the US dollar. And Ripple, ladies and gentlemen, we know that they're going to have a pivotal role in this crypto sector with a massive market share in the trillions because it's real world utility. And America wants that power. And that's why they're hanging on to Ripple. And there's probably some closed door meetings that are happening right now on how America could leverage Ripple and still be a dominant country. So take a listen to what James Wallace says here.
Something that's going to be absolutely critical for the success of CBDCs and the adoption of them is the relationship between the public sector and the private sector. As I mentioned earlier, we view that the public sector, the central banks working with the government will be the designers, the rule setters in terms of policy, and the implementers of the platform for the core capabilities around wholesale and retail CBDC, but that the use cases will come from the private sector. The list just goes on and on and on. There's literally endless potential use cases.
Endless potential use cases. And when the real utility kicks in, once XRP has clarity, and keep in mind, whatever XRP gets declared, a security or not a security, we know it's not going to be labeled a security by all means. They're going to use Ripple as a reference when they're going to, start hammering on Algo and Dash and other digital assets. They're going to reference everything to Ripple. And is this why maybe Brad Garlinghouse said this?
Well, so I do think, as you say, I think it's a pretty bellwether case at this point. And we talked about, the Howey test is this orange grove for a Supreme Court case in the 40s. I think that the Ripple test may be what we look at in the future. And, I think the Ripple test may be what we look at in the future. And, there are a lot of facts and circumstances.
The Ripple test might be something that we may look at in the future. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And we'll be back with another.
There's this weird narrative from the past about Ripple. The point being is, even if they have to settle a lawsuit and get a slap on the wrist, Ripple plays actually quite an important role. It's a money transmission network, and it does quite a good job of it. And it has deep connections with global governments around the world and has worked really hard on it. So there is a reason that chain is valued as highly as it is, and it's not from speculation. Because actually, it got taken off a whole bunch of exchanges because of the lawsuit. It's actually because when I use my net cast law model, the amount of value that gets transacted on the chain is very high. It's being used. So I think if you lift the legal issue, probability is that the value of the chain increases significantly. And as the world moves towards central bank digital currencies, I think the XRP network is going to be somewhere at the center of all of that. So yeah, I don't rule it out. I know it's not flavor of the day for a lot of people. I think it's a big player, it's a real player, and it has its niche.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening. Flip the switch. I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.